Hello, and welcome to Ben and Matt Watch The Booth at the End.
Brought to you by the sci-fi Christian.com. Matt, today we're looking at episode 3, which is called How Do You Do It? It's up to you.
Do it is up to you.
You got it. Wow.
In preparation.
So did I. So we have the episode title this week.
Good. So, Ben, where do we start?
Oh, so much good stuff this week.
Yeah, very good.
Well, your theory about, what's her name? The waitress.
Doris.
Hitting on the man.
She's definitely into him.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, if we're going to just jump right to the end, then...
Well, she was kind of at the beginning.
We saw Doris in the beginning.
Yeah.
Actually, how many times was we see her? Twice. Once kind of in the middle-ish. And then she was in the last scene of the episode. Mm-hmm. And I think she's really getting to the man.
Yeah. Did you notice there's a couple times in this episode where he seemed a little bit introspective and vulnerable?
Yeah, a little bit emotional, you could say.
Yes.
They tried some good, interesting camera shots in this episode also.
They did.
Which we saw in this scene with Doris at the end. And so she just lays it out and tells him, you know, she actually asks him, finally, what do you want? He spent all this time asking other people what they want.
Yeah, and that's where he looked really introspective. And that was really interesting to me because up until now he seemed like he's in control of everything. Yeah. I mean, I know he says that I'm not in control, but he seems to be aware of everything. He has a handle on the entire situation. Yeah. It's the first time he seemed a bit out of control, a bit vulnerable with everything.
Yeah, visibly shaken.
Yeah.
I'd say. You know, and another thing that was interesting about that little just that mini webisode with Doris and the man is that was the first one where the man spoke no words.
Interesting, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, she kept on talking, and after she said, what do you want, she asked him, or she said, I bet you want to talk about the things that you can't talk about. Yeah. And that is right where the show closes, and we see the reflections, a lot of reflection shots in that part, and we see the man do this kind of thing, and and that's how it ended. Yeah. So what are we supposed to take away from that?
I don't know. It's kind of interesting with how they're setting up Doris and him because even earlier than that, Doris came to him and said, I want to have a conversation with you, and that really threw him too. Yeah. So he was like, that's all you want?
Yeah, because he started thinking, he started explaining kind of, well, people come to me and we make, I don't know if he actually said we make a deal, but he said they usually tell me what they want. So
in the last episode, it ended with who's on the other side of you. Well, I'm asking the man that. This episode, we seem to suggest that the man is himself maybe a victim to whatever's going on. I predict that Doris gets through to him and there is someone else who's very bad on the other side of him.
What if the man is in the middle of a deal himself?
That could very well be it.
Wow. That would be awesome.
You have to sit in this diner all day,
and just
every day,
take notes on what people do.
And eat pie.
But he does know, I mean, he is, like we talked about before, there is something supernatural about his knowledge. Because
somebody gave him some powers or something.
Yeah, because, let's see, when he was talking with Alan, I believe it was, I don't know, somebody asked him, how do you know? And they're like, he's kind of like, come on.
What if he was part of a deal a long time ago and what he wanted was to be able to help people?
Oh my gosh.
And he's given these powers by somebody else, and there's this long chain of people like him, or I don't know, that could be pretty wild.
Or maybe he asked for immortality.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Lots of pie.
Let's break down some of these characters.
He has some good food in these episodes. Have you noticed that?
They eat a lot. How is he never full?
I think somebody commented that on one of our videos or on our website or something with a prediction of how many pounds he's going to gain over the course of the season.
Okay, let's go. Here we go. Jenny.
Yeah. This was pretty cool because we found out, we'd kind of suspected that there was maybe a connection between her and Alan because Alan's looking for a bank robber and she's supposed to rob a bank.
I thought there was a connection between Jenny and Melody because Melody wants money.
Well, I think there's one there too.
Possibly.
But this we did find out there is a connection between Jenny and Alan because Jenny's new friend is Alan's son.
Now, I did not see this coming. Were you surprised when that happened?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I was very surprised. I thought maybe that the connections were going to be paired off.
Yeah.
And I think the connections might be
they're all
more hierarchy than we thought.
Possibly.
So, well, let's go to Alan then.
Yeah.
So Alan, what I've learned about Alan is he's not very precise. And even in this time, he's making a new deal, and I still don't think he was really clear on what exactly he wanted.
Alan's kind of an idiot.
He is kind of an idiot.
Yeah, he needs to get with it a bit more.
He needs to stop making deals with this guy.
Totally.
So...
or go home, write down exactly what you want and then come and
prepare yourself. You go,
I want that thing, you know, and it just doesn't work.
His new mission, find a corrupt detective in your department and cover up for him. And he also has to make sure that he doesn't get caught. Okay, make sure that the corrupt detective doesn't get caught, and he can't let the detective know that he's helping him.
Interesting.
Oh, that's a lot.
It is.
And so, this is where it happens, where the man, or Ellen says to the man, you know, how do you know there's a corrupt detective in my department? And he might have been saying, well, obviously there is, because a lot of police departments have corruption, or he was saying, I know because I know, you know, I have that power.
I took it more as a, come on, dude, if you seriously think there's no corrupt detectives?
I took it as, when he's like, detective, I took it as, I obviously know these things. I mean, I have power.
That's interesting, because I didn't read that at all when I watched it, but you could very well be right that it could be a supernatural thing, or in just an intuition, so we will have to see on that point.
So Mrs. Tyler started out the episode by...
Mrs. Tyler, again, my highlight of the episode. It was so cool.
You know what I really like? Willem.
Yeah, Willem's pretty cool.
So Mrs. Tyler started out by saying, well, she actually tried to lie, like Alan.
I did it!
I did it, and he's like, no, if you did it, you know
and by this point, we're like, come on, that ain't gonna work.
But then she said she can't do it. And she backs out. And a part of me is like, it's probably a good choice, because of course you want your husband back, but he's gonna be old. He's not, I mean, he doesn't have as much time as all these people you're gonna kill.
Yeah.
So.
But then she changes her mind.
She does. And she actually has a great quote where she says, sometimes people die so you can get what you want. And
that is correct.
That's what
well
happens.
done, Mrs. Tyler.
And the man agreed. So, anything else about Mrs. Tyler before we move on?
No, I just really like where her story's going. She, to me, is the most interesting character because she's really, really struggling with the moral dilemma.
Yeah.
I mean, James is too, but James seems more interested in justifying it. I think Mrs. Tyler's a bit more honest with herself about what she's doing and why she's doing it.
Melody doesn't really seem like she's having a struggle over what she's doing, other than the fact that it's not turned out exactly as she planned. It's not a moral issue, it's just an uncomfortability issue.
I kind of wanted to smack Melody this week because it's like, because Ron gets mad at you, you're just going to give up? That's kind of what she was going for.
I don't think she's giving up. I think she was really taken back because things were going so well, and she probably doesn't like getting yelled at.
He's a dude with a condition. Of course he's going to.
He has a condition.
What do you think's in his closet?
Oh, I think that's that's something we need to keep watching for.
Yeah. Is it an innocent thing that he just doesn't want her to see because it's private, or is Mr. Ron up to something?
I think he's up to something. I think the man...
Do you think Mr. Ron's last name might be Lecter? Mr. Ronald Lecter.
I don't think
brother of Hannibal.
That doesn't even closely sound the same. That was bad. So, do you think the man told Melody to go find a shut-in knowing that Ron would be the one that she'd find?
I don't know, because he's not precise enough to really be pulling those strings.
Do you think that, whatever's behind the door, the secret thing behind the door or in the closet or whatever, is that supposed to be symbolic to us? That there's something kind of like the man behind the curtain, that there's something going on for us as viewers? Or is it just in this situation?
I think it's just in this situation, but I do bet that whatever's behind his closet ties into one of the other storylines.
All right.
Maybe Ron made a deal back in the day before he became a shut-in.
So Sister Carmel is a character I like, and she had very limited scenes this week. In fact, only one.
That's about as limited as you can still have scenes.
So she's been lying to get out of the convent. She's not feeling good about this. She's thinking about how selfish this is because she wants to know God again or hear God again.
Yeah.
So she's willing to get some guy to impregnate her, have a baby just for her own sake, lying to the convent. And so, again, struggling with the moral dilemma. And I think she seems more serious about breaking her deal. Do you think?
Yeah, she's gonna go through with it.
Do you think so?
Because the other dude who we saw last week has got to come into the picture.
Oh, he wasn't even on this week, Simon.
He wasn't, but he'll be back.
Maybe she's already pregnant and she's feeling guilty about it.
Maybe.
Interesting.
But
and
at that point,
did you know her clothes are getting
when
less?
she have what she wants? So she was pregnant.
Maybe. Did you notice her clothes are getting less and less nun-like?
Yeah.
She was like in street attire this time.
No more nun for you.
No.
Yeah.
All right, Willem and James we still have to talk about. We've talked about Doris, I think, then. Okay, good. We're going to wrap up on Willem and James, which I think is one of the most interesting storylines.
Absolutely. They're on to each other.
Big time. So we already know from last week that James thought that somebody was watching over the girl. In fact, that he specified Willem without the name. This week, Willem notices a strange guy in the car.
Yeah. So this is pretty cool to have these two pitting off each other. But to me, the most interesting part of this is Willem's own transformation, where his values are very much starting to change.
Yeah.
Where he's pretty shallow at first.
He went from wanting. Well, he still hasn't said that his desire changed. But the man continually points it out to him. You keep talking about family. That you obviously desire this, and he's like, no, I just want the girl.
Yeah. But he has also said he wants the girl because he can't have a family. In his mind, he can't have this perfect life that he actually wants. He sees that as unattainable for himself.
So let's quickly tell what happened. So Willem, doing his gardening duties, keeping a watch on the girl nearby, who we learned his name this week, and I forgot what it was. Do you remember?
No.
So all of a sudden, James, the creepy guy in the car, he pushes the gas, driving towards the girl and the dad. And what happens?
James steps in, or Willem steps in. James doesn't.
Pushes him out of the way. James speeds by. Now we find out from both the stories together that he ended up ditching the car because now he can be identified as a attempted murderer.
Yep.
But Willem, on the other hand, gets invited into the family's home for supper.
Yeah.
He's becoming friends, and now we see he's asking what's going to happen after the 10 weeks. I think he's going to take this task even further than the originally given time.
Absolutely. Willem is, he's going to have some interesting transformation over the next 2 episodes.
He's invested.
Totally.
So,
and can't wait to find out
what about James
next. James, I don't know. I don't see his story ending well.
I don't think so. Ending well either.
He's not going to complete his task, and he's probably going to die.
Well, both of these characters, I still think Willem is going to die in the end.
Oh, no.
Sacrifice.
Willem will be the winner.
But both of these characters, they're switching in the sense that we said Willem was kind of shallow. James was a family man.
And now, that's a good point.
As the story goes on, I don't know if we can say James is shallow, but he's thrown all of his other morality aside for this one thing.
Yeah, there's certainly a change of values, you might say.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, speaking of change of values, the last thing I want to touch on before, unless you have anything else that you want to talk about, is Jenny's story. Yeah. She came in as kind of like a naive young girl, just wanted to be seen as pretty.
She's kind of bad now.
Now she's like, she wants to be a bank robber.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, did the man corrupt her?
Maybe. Or maybe she was maybe part of what he's doing.
We're doing a review here for people. we're supposed to give definitive thoughts and opinions.
Just maybe. Hold on, I'm gonna expand upon my maybe.
Perhaps.
So maybe what the man does is he takes what's inside of you and his task draws it out. So with Willem, maybe there really is a deep person in there, and he needs to be given this task to draw that out. And so he gets past the shallowness. And maybe with Jenny, she really is bad, and her task draws that out.
Maybe, what if the man's task is to draw out their true self?
Maybe. That'd be interesting. And then, so Mrs. Tyler then would be an honest terrorist.
A really honest terrorist.
A really honest terrorist.
So, as the man notices that Jenny is now interested in this guy, Richard, but she doesn't think she has a chance with him.
Yeah.
And she's kind of into the bank robbery thing. He said, I can give you a new task if you want something new. And she says, even with your magic, I don't think you could do that.
So what is Jenny's true desire?
Yeah, I do not know. So maybe this Jenny character is going to be more interesting than we thought after all.
I think so.
I can't wait to see how it all ties together.
Hard to believe there's only 2 episodes left.
Is it only 2? Are you sure?
2.
No, we've had 3 and there's 6 total, right?
No, there's 5 total.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that's crazy.
Totally.
So, should we announce here our plans for the coming weeks?
Go for it.
Well, Sci-Fi Christian fans, in just 1 week probably. We haven't.
We don't have a date yet.
We don't have an official date.
We emailed Christopher some dates, and we're just waiting to hear back from him. So
yes. So the creator of the booth at the end is going to be interviewed on the Sci-Fi Christian.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
We're so excited. So
watch for that.
Christopher, thank you very much. We'll be talking to you shortly. So watch for that. We'll talk about it on next week's video again, just to remind you so you can come check that out.
Yep.
But I think for now, that's all from here.
It is.
I'm Matt Anderson.
I'm Betty Bono.
We're the Sci-Fi Christians, signing off.